So Cory,
Mhm.
tell me how we met before we decided to build the house.
You got posted in the Ford building.
Yeah,
You got posted in. I was sitting in the back talking to Tony.
yeah,
And I've been talking to Tony all the time about how I sold my house and I'm gonna build a house.
yeah,
And then you came around and you were like, I'm looking for somebody who knows information management.
yeah.
And I'm like, me. And you're just like, yeah, can you like sign there or do something real like simple? And I was like, hey man, how you doing? And you're like, hey, I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah.
And you had like this really good positive vibe.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey man, me and Tony are talking about how I'm gonna build a home. And he's like, you go, I built my house. And I go, what? And you're like, yeah, I just built my house. And I'm like, I'm thinking about getting my house built for me. And then you just said, no, I built my house. And you started explaining it, and you started saying even like stuff like in-ground flooring. You started talking about how you're trying to get as efficient as you can so you don't have to pay your bills, and you used solar panels. And then you started talking about ICF. And I was like, what's that? And then you talked about ICF as concrete forms, and I used to actually form concrete septic tanks. So I kind of knew a little bit about that, but I didn't know people built with that. And then you said, yeah, that's actually a technology that they've been using for a long time. They don't do it very much in Canada because we build those things in Canada, or we build with wood in Canada. It doesn't last very long. But in other countries, they do. So then you started explaining that, and then I was actually going through quotes to have my house built with sticks, with wood. And it was so expensive that they wanted nearly $100,000 to build, to just labor the wood on. And then you were explaining that like you can do it yourself with concrete forms. And I was just like, what are you talking about? And then you showed, then you sent me a link about your YouTube video. I quickly looked at that, like just like briefly, was like, he ain't lying. Like he literally started building with ICF. And I've never seen that, and there it is. And if I go and see this guy's house and it's finished, I would be like extremely impressed. And I went to your house and I was like, this is like the most solid home I've ever seen in my life. It literally felt like I was walking into a commercial building. And I was like, this is awesome. And I could probably do better, maybe. And so then we started talking about that. And then I asked you how you got your design all together, and then you told me, and then I even asked you, what about my design, a certain design, and you thought that it could be done, and basically how we met is I started talking about how I got posted to Kingston, and I want to have somebody build my house for me, and you convinced me to build my own house because you have the control and understanding. And that when you're done, you have all this knowledge. And right now, I feel like I'm heading towards having that knowledge.
Oh, amazing.
So yeah, sorry, I'm
So,
ranting.
oh my God,
ranting.
you got it so perfect, so amazing.
Yeah.
And then and what happened was I said, oh, you got to land. First thing is just remove the soil, topsoil, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So what did you do?
Everything.
What did you do? So you went and got someone to remove the topsoil.
Yep.
And who did that for you?
Myron of Bucket List. He's a retired guy that does a lot of his own work. But you basically said, okay, the first thing we got to do is we got to find out how deep we have to go at your house. We need to know how deep your land is. And the good thing is my real estate agent said this is going to be a perfect spot to build on. And when we removed it, it ended up being perfect. Unlike your house where your bedrock was sloped by, what would you say, almost 6 feet down from one end.
Yeah.
Mine's nearly perfect,
Flat,
except for one spot, 9 inches.
Yeah, I remember if I were to take a video there, I would see all flat, practically flat bedrock. And then right about there is just a little bit of adjustment.
That shows that.
Yeah. Anyway, so then Myron removed all that for you.
Yep.
And then he piled all that topsoil over here,
Yep.
which will end up in that ICF 4 feet below grade,
Right.
which you also decided not to have basement, right?
Right, but you know what I really was impressed by? Your zonk system.
Yeah.
Because once you have an understanding of that zonk system, it's fast and efficient for one person, and you reuse the wood.
Yeah.
Now, there are other systems, if you're doing this forever and as a business, that you might want to invest in something that you don't have to keep reusing the wood and stuff. But at the end of the day, if you're doing it yourself, this is
the DIY. It's perfect thing. Daunt is perfect for DIY.
right.
For the business, there are a bracing system that are much faster.
Yeah.
Right, you can put together in one day.
Yeah.
But DIY this is the most
Right.
efficient you can get because you can keep it because it takes longer for DIY. You're doing it like right
If
now
you're not building your own home, like you're just giving it
as a business.
giving every bit of your equity and your worth to somebody else.
Yeah.
You need to figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
In this
So-
world, that's what you gotta do.
So now we came in, we almost ready for a pool, right? And I will come on a weekend and I'll show you some stuff because, and then you also is becoming like second nature to you, almost like marching. Remember when we were in the forces at the beginning, when we march for first time, it will take us a couple of days to learn.
Yep.
We think we'll never learn it, right? We finally learn it.
Yeah,
And
practice
ICF
makes perfect.
ICF is becoming that second nature to you right now, right?
Yeah,
Because
it
you're
is.
able to put all this by yourself.
It definitely is. It's easy.
On
Like
weekdays.
anytime you take a job and you put your mind to it, you
Yeah.
can finish it.
Yeah. So this is 3 rows. You're gonna pour here, and you're gonna fill it with material that's already here, with much cheaper, and fill it with a second clean material, and then you have your floor. You're almost done.
Mhm.
So then all this we're gonna grade it all the way around.
Yeah.
Probably gonna be a valley around that area when we grade it, because that's a septic zone. And
Really? Yeah. No, for sure.
and that's your driveway. I mean, I've seen your plan. It's such a beautiful plan, right? Yeah. So, what do you feel when you come here by yourself and you putting this thing together in the daytime? How does that make you feel? Like, what do you feel about when you're working here? Like,
It's really hard.
yeah,
But you know that you have to stay determined. You have to finish it. And also, you feel like you're the master of your own domain.
yeah,
Really, it's a vision that comes into fruition.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, like there's no better feeling than being able to look back and say you did that yourself.
yeah. And the sun beats on you in August all day through.
Yeah.
And how does that make you feel? Does it make you feel like quitting sometimes?
Oh yeah. Like
Is there some military ethics that you apply, or how do you get through?
military ethics with that? I don't know, man.
You don't know?
I honestly, I think that you have to challenge yourself to improve yourself.
Yeah.
And sometimes doesn't matter what job you're doing, you have to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
And this has been a challenge.
I mean, the sun has been beating on us
Yeah.
so bad these
It's
days.
hot.
Yeah.
It's hot. But
Almost-
it could be worse.
Yeah.
It could be worse.
But
And that's the other thing you gotta think about.
the thing is, when you accomplish something like this, right? You're not there yet. Like when you have a
No.
concrete field, the day the concrete's filled, you're gonna get a goosebump because it's gonna feel like I've done something. I've done. There's nothing better than building a house because it's a family thing, right? You're
Right.
building a house to provide for your family, right?
Yeah.
And it feels so great when you fill it with concrete and stuff.
Yeah, like
And,
we got that permit 21 days ago. We got that
Yeah,
permit
21 days ago.
So far, we've made it in
We done-
21 days.
Yeah, we've done good so far. But talk about the permit in Canada. The permit issue, right? The politicians talk about how cities are so slow issuing permit.
Yeah.
What did you go through about permits? Like how difficult for you? What were the things that were frustrating you about permits?
If there was things that I would talk about that were good about it, it would be the people are they're friendly and they're apt to want to help. But what I find that with that is that it's a miscommunication, right? Their communication to me was like, I'm a first-time person doing this. They should have realized that right away, and they should actually communicate a little bit better. But sometimes I feel like they're so busy doing other things that their communication to me was lacking. So
In terms of the price
yeah,
for permit,
the
that's
price
so expensive.
is very expensive.
You start with like $30,000.
You know, I told you this though.
Yeah.
Like this is the truth. That whatever money I put into this, I'm gonna get back. My
True, but
permit-
like with the housing problem that we have in Canada,
Yeah.
do you think the permit should be like free?
I think that everyone does have problems with that. It costs in money to build, but once you build, you're gonna resell and you're gonna make money.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't be an issue right from the get-go. It shouldn't be, because it slows things down.
Yeah.
It would slow down the demand and growth. But then again, it's just it all is just it fuels itself, man.
So-
I don't think there. I think that there was it slowed us down. Permits did slow us down a little bit, but I think just a miscommunication there. You know.
So when you first met me, you went ahead and bought a design from American website.
Mm-hmm.
That was a stick build, American website, mostly 2x4.
Yep.
In Canada, we use 2x6 for stick build.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you change your mind to ICF. First, you were thinking stick build because it was so expensive to get it framed. Practically, you might as well do it yourself and much cheaper. So you went with ICF. Nowadays, almost every builder will use ICF for first foundation. The question is, should you go all the way up, or should you use 2x4s, 2x6s from the foundation up? I mean, what do you feel between those differences? Like, I think you've done the maths, and what do you think?
I don't think it's about math.
Yeah.
Honestly, since I've been working at this now for, like we said, 21 days, I think that working with wood can be easier. It's the tools that have been that we use can be easier. It's a little bit hard to get accustomed to that. And those people that have been doing that, they work with wood all the time, and they do it for a job. So they don't really want to use ICF.
Yeah. But they will have to use ICF for foundation.
Right.
It doesn't make sense to use one of these forms, hire these people. ICF
right.
is the way to go because it's 4-in-1 or 5-in-1 for foundation. Majority of the builders use ICF, I think, now for foundation.
And
the question is,
reason
should
why
you
would
go
they
all the
do
way
that?
up or don't go all the way up?
The reason why they do that, it's insulated, right?
Yeah.
And should you go all the way up, like, to me, you're just taking away other people's jobs. Because if you do it yourself, now you're not paying an insulator person. You know, there's a lot of weird labor-intensive things that you polish out by doing ICF that provide people jobs. But the reason why people don't go all the way up with ICF, I have no idea why they would do that.
Yeah, because
it's a matter of the workforce.
Especially recently, Cory, I must to go with bats. It's a crime, I would say, because bats don't have any insulation value because they sag, they let air in. It's useless, pointless.
Yeah.
If you don't build ICF, you have to go with foams, spray foam at least. Styrofoam on the outside, 2x6 styrofoam on the outside.
Relying
at least
on others.
Like 2-inch, which exactly. Labor requires labor.
Labor.
Styrofoam has gotten so expensive. Like the rigid styrofoam, it's gotten so expensive. And the spray foam went up 5-fold. It's like about $6 per square foot to spray now.
Yeah.
For R20, $6 per square foot. So if you frame and hire someone to spray for you and in styrofoam on the outside, that's practically as much, it will cost you as much as the ICF.
Yeah.
So the question is, why you don't go all the way with ICF? I don't get it.
It's part of a workforce, bud.
Yeah.
It's always been done like that in Canada. It's always been done like that. This is a concept that if you have the time, you can do it yourself. Like, that's the thing.
I asked myself, like, if people gonna comment on this YouTube. By the way, I gotta thank you, Cory, because since I started YouTubing you, and it's been my channel is doing great, which I'm happy about.
It's a new project.
Yeah.
You're opening eyes to a lot of things.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, bud, everything that you've ever said, you've always been one jump ahead of everything here. You already know what we're on next.
Yeah.
You're already you envision this just like you envision your place.
Yeah.
I saw that you envisioned that, and that's why we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, and we have a lot more ahead of us. You and I. Great. Okay. Thanks for the video, man.
Yeah,
It's been amazing. Let's have fun now.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Subscribe and like. Hit the like button. Please help me reach 1,000 subscriptions. And then please hit the notification button. I hope I'll do better with this YouTube thing. Thank you. Bye.